Today, we've got a real clash of the titans happening right in the developer's command line. This is a showdown that could seriously change the way you code, like forever.
So the big question is, who's going to win the battle for your terminal? We've got two heavyweights stepping into the ring, Google's Gemini CLI and Anthropic's Claude Code CLI. But you know, the real question isn't just about who's better. It's about which one is the right fit for you and your specific workflow.
All right, so in this corner, you've got the challenger from Google. And believe me, it's bringing the entire weight of its ecosystem right to your command line. And in the other corner, we have the contender from Anthropic, which is just laser-focused on that enterprise-level precision. Look, both of these are designed to completely supercharge how you work, but they go about it in totally different ways.
Okay, let's get right into it. We're going to do a round-by-round comparison here, and we'll pit these two tools against each other on the features that actually matter to developers day in and day out. This is where we cut through the marketing hype and get to what's real.
First up, round one. Let's talk about the money, the price tag. Gemini comes out swinging with a completely free preview. I mean, you don't even need a credit card. Claude, on the other hand, well, it requires a paid subscription right off the bat. It's positioning itself as more of a premium, pro-level tool.
So this makes the choice on cost pretty straightforward, right? If you're an individual developer or part of a team that's just experimenting or watching the budget, Gemini is the clear winner. But if you're a big enterprise, Claude's subscription model starts to make a lot more sense because you're paying for that robust security and the dedicated support that comes along with it.
All right, let's move on to round two, the context window. And wow, this is where the scale of Gemini's advantage is just staggering. It boasts 1 million tokens. That's enough to swallow entire code bases in one go. Now, don't get me wrong, Claude's 200,000 tokens is still really capable, but Gemini is just playing in a completely different league here.
And you know, this distinction is absolutely key. If your day-to-day work means you're swimming in these massive, sprawling monorepos, then Gemini's context window isn't just a feature, it's a total game changer. But for more focused tasks, working on a specific file or a smaller component, Claude's context window is more than enough to get the job done and get it done well.
Okay, on to round 3, code quality. And this is where Claude lands a really heavy punch. It just consistently generates more polished, production-ready code. And the reason why is that it thinks about structure. We're talking creating readmes, organizing files, basically handing you something that's ready for a professional environment.
So the verdict for this round is pretty simple. If your goal is to write high-quality, maintainable, enterprise-grade code that your whole team can build on for years to come, Claude is the undisputed champion here. Gemini is absolutely fantastic for whipping up quick prototypes, but just know that code will probably need a bit more cleanup later on.
All right, round 4, debugging. A developer's bread and butter. And once again, Claude really shows off its precision here. It's incredible at teasing out those really complex, thorny bugs. You know the ones that span multiple files and require a super deep understanding of the code's logic.
So when it comes to those deep, architectural bugs that can absolutely plague large applications, Claude's sophisticated, almost conversational approach to debugging gives it the decisive win. It's really like having a senior developer sitting right next to you, pair programming through the absolute toughest problems.
And that brings us to our final round, enterprise features. And here we see two completely different strategies, two different philosophies, really. Claude is purpose-built for those structured, compliant workflows you see in big organizations, and it has super deep Git integration. Gemini, on the other hand, it's betting on flexibility, its open-source license, and of course, that seamless integration with the whole Google Cloud ecosystem.
So at the end of the day, this round is a split decision. It really comes down to your team's philosophy. What do you value more? Are you looking for the structured control and compliance that Claude offers, or do you lean towards the open-source freedom and deep cloud integration you get with Gemini?
Okay, enough with the specs on a slide. Let's see how these two actually perform in a real-world scenario. A head-to-head test was set up. Build a Python CLI agent completely from scratch. So, what happened? Let's find out.
Honestly, the results of this test were pretty fascinating. Claude just stepped up. It completed the entire project completely autonomously in just a little over an hour. Pretty incredible.
Gemini, on the other hand, took almost twice as long, and it wasn't a smooth ride either. It actually needed several manual nudges along the way just to get it across the finish line. Okay, but what did that actually cost?
Well, Claude's smooth, totally autonomous run came in at just under $5.
And here's the kicker, and this is kind of surprising, because of all those extra retries and the manual nudging, Gemini's run actually ended up costing more for this one specific task. It came in at just over $7. But look, it's not just about the time and the cost. The difference in quality was, well, it was stark. Claude delivered a clean, well-structured, production-ready codebase. Gemini's code, it was functional, I mean, it worked, but it was messy. You had test cases and extra files just kind of dumped into the root folder. Not exactly ideal.
So, okay, after all those rounds and after that real-world test, which tool is the winner for you? See, it's not really about which one is better in a vacuum. It's about picking the right co-pilot for your specific mission. So let's break down the final recommendation.
So who is Claude for? Well, you should go with Claude if your #1 priority is mission-critical, high-quality, maintainable code. Period. If you live and breathe in a world of Git workflows, pull request automation, and you absolutely need that powerful debugging for complex apps, Claude was literally built for you.
But who should pick Gemini? You should absolutely go for Gemini if cost is your main driver, especially in that free preview period. If you're wrestling with those massive code bases where you need that enormous context window, or if your entire workflow is already plugged deep into the Google Cloud ecosystem, then Gemini is the logical and frankly very powerful choice. Look, at the end of the day, whichever tool you choose, one thing is for sure: the future of software development is here, and it lives right inside your terminal. This whole showdown just leaves us with one final, kind of mind-bending question to think about. With AI agents becoming this powerful, is your next line of code already written?